guys, I'm Dr. Jenny White, a dentist in Sarasota, Florida, and her fearless patient, Susan, with our new and exciting podcast, Open Wide, Be Careful What You Tell Your Dentist. Over the past 25 or so years, I've been sitting in a little room talking to myself all day, and I've gained a lot of wisdom through that process, which I want to share with you. We are two women in our mid-whatevers who want to have fun and talk about our daily lives in a Seinfeld kind of way, although we admit we are far from Jerry Seinfeld in the humor department. We hope our podcast casts optimism and fearlessness to you, so you can remember that you can rise to the top, stay at the top, and dream bigger than you've ever imagined. So on today's podcast, the soup du jour is airports. I feel my body parts clenching together just saying that word, Susan. It's a chaotic place, and I just need to unload some analysis and have a few laughs about the good old airport. God bless the airports. We need them. I'm going to start off with giving you a little history lesson here, or some history facts. We need airports. We want to use them. But why is it like entering the Thunderdome where I need to dress like Rambo? That's what I feel like. What does the word airport even mean? So I went to my little friend, Perplexity, and I asked. And I guess there's an old French and a new French, but air, according to the old French, means atmosphere or sky. Port means facility for commercial air transport. So what I'm reading, or what my brain registers here, is it's a facility which can take me to the sky. It doesn't make any sense. We're the greatest nation in the world, and that's what we've come up with to describe an airport. I think we could simplify it and call it air travel, sky mover, or fly in the sky. I digress. Anyway, in 1903, did you know that's when the Wright brothers took their first flight?
Well, I didn't know it was 1903, but I knew it was in the early 1900s, yeah.
1903.
I know.
And back then, the airport was called Dirt Road.
Yeah.
Because that's probably all they had. And Lindbergh flew from New York to Paris in 1927. The airport was still probably called Dirt Road. And the last little factoid that I'll bore you with here is the first commercial flight was operated, drumroll please, by the St. Petersburg Tampa Airboat Line, January 1st, 1914, and the regular fare for a one-way ticket was $5 per person.
I didn't know that. So, our Tampa was the first
commercial flight.
Oh, that's shocking. Yeah.
Can you imagine being on that flight?
Where'd they go?
I think just Tampa to St. Pete.
Oh, okay.
They just flew back and forth from there. Can you imagine being on that flight? Safety, mechanical failures, navigating with probably a carrier pigeon or something like that. The amount of noise. And was there even a windshield? Like, who knows? Anyway, I found those little statistics to be quite interesting. So back to the airport. We need to just break down the airport experience and what is in the airport and how the airport is according to us. And I'd like to start with first topic. Have you noticed that there is a watering hole, which is pretty much a freestanding tiki bar every 5 feet now in airports? You can sit at that tiki bar and get loaded every 5 feet. Is this something new? I don't remember this being in the airport when I was a child.
Okay, so you're concerned about it being every 5 feet, or that people are getting loaded?
Yes and yes. Okay. No, I mean, it's just the amount of alcohol that is now introduced into an airport.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot. You're right.
For the pre-experience, before you get on that flight.
Right.
What is it telling us?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of nervous travelers. I mean, I think that's basically what it's telling us. And a lot of people are on vacation, and so why not have a Bloody Mary at 6:30 in the morning because, hey, I'm on vacation. I mean, I think I think that's part of what it is too. Wherever you can make money, you just put up the watering holes. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think so too. But also, I think it brings into play the amount of oopsie daisy incidences that we see on TV regarding airplanes.
That could be.
I think it kind of freaks people out.
Yeah.
And so people like myself who were dressing like Rambo going into the Thunderdome, and probably a little anxious about turbulence, might have a drink or two before getting on that plane. Or we just watched the news and we saw X, Y, and Z plane go down or get hit or whatever, a little anxious. So
Yeah, I think
more
anxiety
accidents,
is probably the driving force of all this. Yeah,
for sure. More accidents, more anxiety, more alcohol in the plane. I'm just pointing this out. Like,
yeah,
we've lived a long time. Our combined years are probably 723.
right.
So over those 723 years, we see things. As a dentist, I'm very familiar with infection control, how to keep infection down. I know how to wash my hands for surgery. I know the difference between dirty and clean. I know if I blow my nose into a Kleenex, that Kleenex is now considered dirty. I should not use it to wipe the airplane seat down with that Kleenex that I just used to blow into.
You've actually seen that?
I've seen that.
Oh, God.
I know to cover my face when I sneeze and not take my hand that was covering my face and put it in my mouth or rub my eyes with that hand. You've got bacteria, viruses, germs in general. I think the American Red Cross or someone needs to offer an infection control class for dummies. We desperately need it based on what I see go on in the airport. And I've got to say this one thing because I know you're chomping at the bit. You can't lick your fingers while you eat on an airplane. And you also can't pick your teeth on the airplane with whatever, your fingernail, toothpick, pencil, a pen.
Yeah.
You can't pick your teeth on the airplane.
Because that's bad for your teeth.
It's teeth
it's
aside.
Socially bad.
Teeth aside,
No,
it's
I
the
agree.
germs.
Yeah.
It's the germs.
Yeah. It's funny because, we had COVID, which was a sort of a mandatory, very quick class in infectious disease control, right? And whenever we would fly during that period, everybody was wiping everything down. We had masks, we were washing our hands 10 times a day, and everybody had Purell with them. So that actually, I think, instilled a little bit of social hygiene into some of these public places, which we didn't have before. And to a certain extent, I still see that. I still see people wipe down trays with Purell and wash their hands. But you're right. Every once in a while, a good reminder of those things would be good.
And, before I get off the infection control topic, I just have to go over a couple of items as to what people are wearing on the airplanes. So when you wear a tank top on an airplane and you're very nervous, you're sweating, okay? You've got to keep your bodily fluids off the pleather seats that we're sitting on, because when you have that tank top on and you're nervous and you're sweating and you're leaning back on the pleather, your bodily fluids are getting on the seat for the next person, unless they wipe the seats down, which I don't stick around to find out. But I'm just saying. And then the shorts. I've seen some girls, mainly girls, in tight shorts with their rear ends hanging out.
I know. I don't.
You can't put that on the pleather seat.
Yeah.
You got to keep the bodily fluids contained. You can't pick your cuticles on the airplane and have them bleed and then touch stuff on the plane. Like, I'm trying to do a PSA.
Oh, okay.
I really am.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
a PSA. It's a cry for help.
Yeah.
Disguised as a PSA. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that, or do you think about that?
Well,
do you see any of that?
Until you just mentioned it, I really thought that we learned a lot of social etiquette lessons during COVID that I still see employed at airports today. Now, I hadn't thought about the clothing issue, which you bring up a very, very good point. But I don't want to sound like the old ladies, like, kids these days, the stuff they're wearing. Can you even believe it? On the pleather seats. I don't want to be that person either. So, so for me, I always, make sure I have some long sleeve something and long pants on. And therefore, if I'm sitting on a seat where somebody's had shorts on before, I'm kind of not really worried about it because those clothes go right in the washer the second I get off the plane. But yeah, you're right. They're constant reminders of being mindful of other people is important in any situation, and particularly on planes.
I don't want to sound like a fuddy-duddy either. I mean, if you're going to wear the shorts, fine. I don't mind. No one minds. But put a sweatshirt down,
Yeah.
before you sit down, or have a sweatshirt around your waist, or just be mindful of bodily fluids translating to infection issues. And I want to commend everyone for maintaining the COVID protocol or some modification of it. I think it is still in effect. And I do see a lot of people wiping things down and doing the right thing and this and that. But every now and again, when I look over and I see somebody picking their teeth with their hand and then taking their hand on that seatbelt buckle and opening it up and going to the back, like, oh, I don't know. I just thought I'd bring that to light. Another one for me it involves the oversized carry-on luggage. And I personally have the oversized carry-on luggage that weighs a lot. And I don't know how it gets to that weight. I really don't. And sometimes I'm checking a bag as well, but for the most part, it's just the oversized carry-on luggage. And I don't understand when you're going onto the plane and they are announcing over the loudspeaker, you need to put the wheels in first. I watch people that weigh 50 pounds and are 3 to 4 feet tall taking this luggage and just hoisting it up in that overhead bin. It's handle first, wheel first, side first, zipper first, whatever. It's not wheel first. People don't seem to understand the wheels first concept. So I thought to myself, why don't they announce wheels away from your face?
Okay. Right. Well, listen, if things don't work out in the dental community, you can always be a stewardess on Delta because it looks like anybody, or on any airline for that matter, I think it's open to everybody these days. Yeah. And then when they say put it like a bookend, that always confuses me.
There you
Personally,
go.
I'm just telling you, like, okay,
Yeah.
does that mean it sits up like this or it goes in like that? And so that's a little crazy. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of people get away with oversized stuff, guitars, a cello, a tuba, those kinds of things. But yeah.
And when you have the oversized carry-on, there's always that little anxiety as you're going up to the gate agent because they have that contraption that your bag is supposed to fit into. And every now and again, they'll ask you, I need you to take that bag and put it in there. And I know, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, they let me go and I go on and my bag fits up in the overhead properly. It's just, it's not following the rules. Do you follow the rules all the time?
Yeah, sort of. But I do have a story related to this. So I travel a lot, and I usually fly a particular airline, and because I fly that airline so much, I am a status person on the airline. And so this happened to me very recently, actually. So I was flying from our hometown to another destination, but I had to switch planes in Atlanta. So the plane took off from our hometown late, and therefore it arrived in Atlanta late, which meant that the time between one flight and another was really, really truncated. And, they shut that door at 10 minutes up, and there's no getting on, even though you might be there. So now I land in one terminal in Atlanta, and I've got to get to another terminal and take that train, and I'm doing an OJ through the airport, and I finally get to the gate. And I get on the plane, and because I have this status, I've been upgraded to seat 1A. Now, seat 1A is that seat where there is no place to put your luggage in front of you underneath the seat, right? And I'm traveling on this particular day with just a backpack. And so I get on the plane, I'm huffing and puffing, I've got heart palpitations, I literally am like, oh my God, how did I even make this? So I sit down and I cannot find a place to put my backpack. And so I go up to the coat rack And I open the coat rack and I put it in the bottom of the coat rack, whereupon the stewardess comes over and goes, "You can't put the bag there. Can't you see it says coats, Coats?" And she actually spells it out for me. So she goes, I go, "Well, where am I going to put it?" She goes, "I don't know, hun. That's what you get for being late." And I'm like, "The reason I am late is because your airline was running late. And so A, and B, don't you recognize that I'm a blah, 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 elite, blah, blah, blah status?" And so I said, "Well, what do you suggest I do?" She goes, "Yeah, if I were you, I'd get on a coach, see if there's something down there." And I'm sitting in first class. So the point I'm trying to make is I was furious because help people out. That's your job. If you're standing there doing nothing and somebody's searching for a place to put an ordinary backpack, see if you can help people out. So I think that sometimes, the airline personnel could be a little bit more helpful to people in moving things forward more quickly, and in recognizing you're A+ customer. Maybe I should go, out of my way to help you. So I was just furious about that. I ended up writing to the airline, and they took care of it. They sent me, things that made me happy, and they dealt with it. So to their great credit, if there was any kind of problem on that airline or any airline, you should write to them and just say, "Look, I'm not putting up with this. I'm a regular customer of yours, and you should take better care of me." This is a long-winded story, but yes, I have been in a situation where I've had luggage that doesn't fit in the overhead, not because it's too big, but because I arrived late, hun, and the airline really should help you with those things.
And there wasn't an overhead for you. The 1A does not
Exactly.
have.
There's nothing. Right. That's exactly right. And not recognizing that your customer service is another whole podcast for another day. I really want to get into that. But yeah. So yeah, travel is just horrendous, and you just have got to realize that it's not going to go easy. There's going to be delays. There's always going to be the guy next to you snoring or drooling or something. And you just have to sort of buck up and hope that you get to your destination at some reasonable time frame.
My BHT, Tom, he also has status with a particular airline, and he's encountered similar situations. But on the flip side, we've also encountered those flight attendants that are like unicorns. They're golden unicorn, and they're so amazing. And they're they're not bringing you a glass of water. They're handing you this 4-gallon jug and saying, "Here, put that in your bag." And he has these little special tickets that he can give, so that they get the accolades or whatnot.
Yeah.
So just as much as there are those experiences with those flight attendants, and this is going to be my next thing that I want to talk about, the flight attendants, whom I love. But sometimes you get the ones that are more, their attitude is talk to the hand because the face isn't listening type of person.
Yeah, let me balance my story out by saying that absolutely there's more good flight attendants and airline personnel than there are the bad ones.
Yes.
And on the airline I prefer, you get these little notes that you can actually leave in the seat for the attendant, which I love. I think that's a really smart way for the airline to help the customer thank the airline personnel.
Absolutely. And I think too, when we're all seated in a cylindrical tube going from point A to point B, we should want to help one another. Let's get this cylindrical tube called an airplane from A to B.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I didn't think of this until just now, but when the plane is landing and you've got a tight turnaround, and people will jump up as soon as that plane is landed and start sprinting to the front, like literally knocking people over to get to the front so that they can potentially make that connection or do what they need to do or just be first. I'm not sure what is happening, but I feel if we all helped one another, we could have that plane exited lickety split.
Well, how would that happen? Because how would you prevent somebody from saying, "I have a tight connection," when they really don't?
Oh, if they really have a tight connection, sure, go. But I don't know if everybody that's sprinting to the front has a tight connection.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure
50% of the plane gets up and jumps up and goes to the front. And the other thing too, when we're exiting the plane and there's a little woman in front of you, elderly possibly, or just small, who needs help getting whatever out of the overhead bin, that paper bag filled with all the gifts from New Orleans and the Mardi Gras hats and the derby hats and everything else. Help that person. Help that person get their things down so that we can all leave.
Yeah. I want to get back to your point about the tight turnaround because I've been in that situation personally. And I think this is another way the airline can help is they have got to know who's got a tight turnaround.
Yeah.
You would think with technology these days, they would know, oh, Dr. White, she's got 40 minutes to get to Terminal X. And to say to you in your seat, I know you have a tight turnaround, and to say to everybody, would you mind if she jumped up first? Coming from you, people would be like, yeah, right. Everybody says that. But coming from the flight attendant, yeah, that has some cachet. I think that would be a really helpful thing.
I think that is a great idea. And if any of the airlines are listening to our podcast, in addition to the 3 people that we know we have, I think that's an excellent idea. I'll be honest with you. The other thing I wanted to talk about was reclining the seat.
Mm.
I think most people know etiquette says you don't recline the seat because you're squashing whoever's behind you.
Yeah, but if you're on a long haul flight, and I have long legs, so I like to recline the seat when it's appropriate. What I think is missing is the ability for me to say to the person behind me, I'm going to recline the seat now.
Yes.
So that person has a chance to take their drink and hold it in their hand or whatever. That's what I think is missing. And you can't really turn around and talk to the person because the headrest is there and everything else. I think new technology in airlines should be a way you can send them a message. I'm going to recline now. And that's just a courteous thing to say to somebody.
Wouldn't that be amazing
if
we could just talk to the person behind us really fast just to say, I'm going to recline slightly.
Yeah.
To take a nap or whatever. Yeah, that's a great idea. Again, airlines, listen up. The other one that is kind of baffling to me is when the pilot gets on the loudspeaker to announce we're descending, we're going to land. Got about 10 minutes. I would say 25% of the plane, I hear the seatbelts open, this little safety mechanism. They get up and there's a big line to go to the bathroom. When we're descending, why can't we think a little bit ahead? I know there are people that fall asleep and they wake up to the announcement and they go, oh my gosh, I got to get to the bathroom really fast. But why do a majority of people run to that bathroom the minute the pilot says we're going for landing?
Well, how does that impact you? Like, why would that matter?
I don't think it necessarily impacts me, but it's like, we have to be seated for the landing. The flight attendants have to, go up and down the aisles with the trash thing. They have to make sure that the seats are up and your bags are under and everything. And so that bathroom line is getting in the way of the flight attendants to do their job and for us to get ready to just land the plane. Land the plane. I don't know. It's like just practice Kegels or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
think people lose time. Lose track of time. Maybe I don't know. They may lose track of time. Oh my God, we're 10 minutes out. I better run to the ladies' room.
I guess. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think in summary, we can say that the point of this podcast is to find the levity no matter where you find yourself as best we can. Whether it's airport, dental office, Jiffy Lube, whatever, it doesn't matter. We need to find little funny pockets that are going on no matter what the situation is. And as Sinatra says, come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly, let's fly.
Yeah, and it's not just airports, it's also outside of the airport too. I have a funny story about, I used to fly into New York all the time on business, and you get off the plane and then you go into the line to get a taxi that takes you into Manhattan, wherever you're going. And you have to get into this line, and then there's like a cage right on either side of you. So once you're in the line, there's no getting out. And there's 75, 200 people in the line. You snake around into an S, and you get to the very end, and there's a guy standing there, and he looks at you and goes, taxi? And I'm thinking, no, I'm here for a ham sandwich. Of course I want a taxi. What do you think I've been doing for 20 minutes in this line? And that's like what you're talking about. That's just levity. Yeah, thanks. That'd be great. Taxi? Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, I'd have one of those. Taxi? Oh, my God.
Well, bravo to you, Susan. And I think we should have a little cocktail celebration at this moment. So...
Okay. I think you've got it this time.
So for our cocktail of the podcast, I'm going to take the reins this time. I enjoy eating a lot of beans. Stay with me here. And I get my beans from the Venice Olive Oil Company. Again, stay with me. They have the best beans. They're bagged. It's perfect size. They get like triple size.
What kind of beans?
Soak
like black beans
black
or any
beans,
kind of bean?
lima beans, all these different kinds of beans I've never even heard of. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So anyway, I'm in there, and a gal that I've become friendly with, her name is Julie Farrow. Julie was in the store, and she said to me, Dr. Jenny, I know you don't come here to buy olive oil and vinegar, which is like the signage of the whole store.
Yeah.
You come here to buy beans, but would you like to try this drink? And I said, drink? What are you talking about? She brought me over. This is Cava Cava orange balsamic vinegar and club soda over ice. I took a taste of this, and of course I put a little orange slice in, a Cava Cava orange slice. And I don't even know what Cava Cava means. I just like saying it.
Well, Cava is a wine, but there's no wine in here, right?
No, it's just the orange vinegar, club soda, and ice. So it's a mocktail. But the Venice Olive Oil Company has all of these different amazing balsamic vinegar flavors that you could use with club soda or in any drink to just kind of spice it up a bit. They have lemongrass mint, mango, the Cara Cara orange vanilla, which is what we're drinking, cranberry pear. I mean, all sorts. But it's so healthy to just have club soda
vinegar
and vinegar,
club soda together. But it is very refreshing, very summer-like.
So I would like to toast to you, Susan, on our mocktail, our first mocktail of the podcast. And if anyone is interested, please check out the Venice Olive Oil Company. They have locations on the island of Venice, and the one that I go to where Julie is in Palmer Ranch. Delightful store, delightful stuff. And I love the fact that this is probably a lot healthier than a lot of the flavored bubbling waters that are out there because it's literally vinegar. And Julie can tell you about all the health benefits of vinegar, but it's literally vinegar and club soda.
But just for the benefit of people who might be listening outside of our general shopping area, any olive oil, any vinegar store or any vinegar that's flavored would work no matter where you get it, right?
Right.
With club soda, yeah, it's a nice combination.
Well, if you're in the local area, please stop by the Venice Olive Oil Company because it's a delightful place, great for gifts. And who knew you can get beans and you can make mocktails?
Yeah. So it begs the question, how did you even find beans at a place that's called the Olive Oil Company?
Leave it to me, Susan. Leave it to me.
Only you. Oh, here's an olive oil company. I'll check and see if they have beans.
Only you.
And motor oil. Maybe they got motor oil too.
It's like Walmart. You can walk in and get a tomato and a set of tires.
Right.
Boom. So, yeah, check it out. It's a lovely, lovely shop. And cheers to our first mocktail.
Yay. It tastes great.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please share the show with friends and family and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way, you'll never miss weekly drops. Stay strong, dream big, and floss your teeth.